hey, 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 hey. It's your Jamaican girl. Hello, friends. Welcome back to another episode of JGBW. Thank you so much for being here. And today I have with me my very, very talented friend from Trinidad, Mr. Matthew Collin. Matthew Collin Jahan, who is a poet, a photographer, and just all types of things. Like, he's a multi-talent, and he's here to talk to I can't even talk today. He is here with me to talk today about what he's been doing, what he's been up to. So without further ado, Matthew Collin. Yay! Hi, Matt.
Hey, well, first of all, it's my pleasure to be here. I know this is a bit overdue.
I know, right? From when we tried link up and talk and think, can't. You barely even message me. You're always busy. You're always working.
Money half you make.
What's your... All right.
No, that's not the case, yeah. I know.
Fine.
I always working on stuff. I always try to keep busy and whatnot. And even today, I mean, like I tell you, the rain nearly home and back as well. But, we'll make it work.
We'll make it work.
Uh-huh.
So tell me how you got started with poetry, because I remember you sent me like a whole bunch of stuff that you've done before and your poetry page on like Instagram. And you have like some really cool stuff. Like, absolutely love it. I love like, how you like put things together. Like, none of it is like really rhymey, like the usual typical boring way. It's more, thought provoking, and you dabble in like a lot of different themes, and I really enjoy that. So yeah.
So, well, my love of words really started from like really, really small. So for starters, when I was a child, I'm talking about like standard 1, standard 2, my teachers used to give me books. I read like Inkheart, obviously Harry Potter and those kind of things as well. But one of my favorite books is actually by poet and author called Shel Silverstein. I have his entire collection, and he does books on poetry as well as some short stories. The most famous one, I think, would be The Giving Tree. Very short, simple book, to the point. But even his poetry style, some of them are rhymey and they, what you'd expect, and then some of them are just completely wacky and out of there. And I believe Shel Silverstein, as well as all the authors I grew up reading, really influenced my love for words and my love for reading. I actually didn't dabble in any form of writing until I reached Form 2. We got an piece of English homework where they just told us write a poem on a inspirational figure. And I chose Gandhi. And God knows, I wish I still had this poem. It was 4 pages long.
4 pages? No, it's a short story.
Well, they wanted us to basically encapsulate their life into poetry. And then one of us, it was a group project, one of us would read it while the others perform it or whatnot. And I remember writing this, and I wish I still had a copy of this poem. One part that always stuck with me was 1 knock, 2 knock, 3 knocks, 4. The sound of death came at his door, because they came after him, I think, multiple times before he actually got shot. And it was really basically a poem that reflected his entire life and his work as well as his death. And in writing it and actually performing it for the classes, when I realized, I really do enjoy not just reading but writing a lot. And after that, I just used to dabble a bit every now and again. Nothing official. I've only ever really went up for a spoken word competition once. Other than that, I just write and share online. Back in the days when Tumblr was massive,
right?
I'd just be on Tumblr, see a random photo or GIF, and add a quick caption to it and repost it. Reason being is writing, poetry, all of these things were more or less just my way of interacting with the world. It was my escape as well too. If I couldn't vocalize how I felt to a person, I would always write it. Whether it be positive feelings, negative feelings, that was always my way of just interacting and dealing with the world. And it just kind of just escalated from there. So I always used to write at the beginning. younger years, I wouldn't say emo phase because I never had bands, but the hard rock phase and whatnot, where a bit of depressive music was trending on Tumblr at the time too. I wrote a lot of more deeper, darker pieces. Then as I got older, I started to like fantasize the world a bit and really write things to show how I viewed the world and really just get people to see it from my perspective as well. I know a lot of other poets, a lot of people use it for political commentary or for love or anything. And for me, it was just a matter of speaking. It was just another way of telling people what's on my mind.
Love that. You said you went to one spoken word. How was that? Because you got up on you performed.
Terrifying.
What happened?
When I tell you, I was on a stage.
Tell me.
So, long story short was, I can't remember which year exactly. It was the First Citizens spoken word competition. They have it every year in Trinidad. And this one was at Kaiser Blue Cafe. And I decided, okay, why not? Let me enter this or the other. And while I'm there, I'm seeing one amazing poet go after the other. And I realized after a few seconds that I'm about to stick out like a sore thumb because everyone was talking about like social commentary, political commentary, issues going on. I went up there with a love poem.
Aww. Ever the hopeless romantic. It's fine. It's totally fine.
I went up there with a spoken word that I wrote called Book Girl. And ironically, I always loved books. So obviously, if I'm writing anything romantic, it's going to equate to words, books, writing, and those kind of things. I remember right before I went up, I think the person who went before me actually won that year too. He went up there with a very powerful political piece.
Oh God!
And just how he spoke, he commanded that respect and that whole aspect of provocation and whatnot. And then it's me just walking up there like,
la-di-da.
Well, I'm not here to talk about the government or society. I'm here to talk about this girl I saw the other day. So, yeah.
Well, that's what was important to you at the time. Maybe they were like really passionate about politics at the time, and that's totally fine. So, I mean, it's good to write what you know anyway. That's what they always tell you in late classes. So,
I would never write anything political, social, or anything like that because that isn't really who I am. Anybody who knows me, for lack of a better word, knows my mindset doesn't focus there. I won't say it isn't I don't care. I could know about the topic, I could have opinions, I could carry a conversation about it. But at the end of the day, we're all individuals as well too. And raising awareness for something is great. I also don't want to make that my only identity.
Exactly.
So
same.
At that point now, I just kind of shared my piece and what I had to say to the world there. I did not make it past the first round.
Oh no.
But at the same time, I didn't really care because I was glad that I was actually able to reach up onto that stage. Because when I tell you, it was a little ridiculous on how nervous I was. My palms were sweaty, I was nervous, my feet were shaking, I was tapping this at the other. And glad I did it, won't ever do it again.
Why not? Why?
It really isn't for me.
But you stopped doing poetry though, like... You haven't done it in a while.
For me, poetry was a way of tapping into like serious emotion and portraying it out. So it was my way of not getting overwhelmed by the world.
I will see. Always an outlet.
Where I've reached in my life now, I do write from time to time, and I've been. When I say been working on, I mean every 2 to 3 months, I pull up a book that I've been working on, which is a collection of poems, and I write a couple words. Okay, yeah, that's good, and I come back into it like next 2-3 months. The goal really is to have one poem for each day of the year. I think I only reached like 50 something poems though, so we are a long way to go still. But I'm not trying to actually force it. It's also not something I plan on selling. I just plan on posting it online and seeing if anybody wants to, they can download it. But yeah, where I've reached in my life now. I don't write as much because I don't need that outlet as much anymore. And that in addition to it, it is also a matter of, unfortunately, I didn't stay at Neverland. I kind of grew up, got bills to pay. So there are times where I feel the need to write, but then I'm just so tired. So it's a matter of, am I going to go write, or am I going to just eat this ice cream and watch a TV show?
Yeah.
I'm lazy and I like food. So we know the answer there.
Totally fine. What's the name of your poetry page on Instagram?
So my poetry page is actually my personal profile as well, Fool for Words. I've contemplated multiple times separating it because when I first started posting poetry online, Fool for Words was a private page. Nobody knew. There was no face to it. It was just a writing page. And then there was my personal profile. But then after a while, I started to just go. So I was like, fuck it. This writing is a part of me. This is who I am. Anybody who follows my social media knows I post once every 6 months at best.
Fully. Same.
So, yeah.
Oh, God.
Or I share a couple of memes on my stories, and that's about it. Whereas when I was actively writing, I would post sometimes 2 to 3 poems a day because that is a better reflection of who I am. How I write and what I write is a direct reflection of what's going on in my head. I don't just make things up. And like you would have said, I do dabble in quite a bit of things. So at one point, I was doing limericks. I was writing haikus. Sometimes I wasn't even writing what you would typically call poetry. It was not rhyming in any form or fashion. But if you read it in a certain way, some may argue that it's a poem. I argue that it's a piece of paper's on image posted online, and that's about it. That's all I care to do. And it is something that, as of this year, I've been trying to get into more because it is a big part of my identity. I've always referred to myself as somebody who likes to write and a poet and whatnot. So it is something I don't want to sacrifice just because as I get older, I get boring. That doesn't seem fair.
We don't get boring. We just change. You know, all the things become important. Arguably, children would say we get boring. So maybe they're onto something. maybe they're onto something. I think you should do like a combination of all your best poems, like all the ones you love, and do like a book, just to have like a memento.
Well, that was close to the... So it started off... The name of the book was Conversations in My Head. I think I shared it with you once before. In the earlies. But
I don't remember.
It was originally all poems themed around like conversations. And then after a while, I changed it from just being that kind of theme to all the poems that really stuck out to me the most. Problem is, while I was compiling it, my external hard drive crashed. Lost the majority of it. Back down to like 50 something. But I mean, we'll make it work. And I just add to it. And I'll be honest, some of those words aren't even mine. Some of those words are like they literally be just a quote. I remember one of the poems, there's a line that says, Johnny Cash says lovebirds. And then it's me writing. That was the introduction to the poem, and there's just me writing a whole tangent after it. Because I didn't think it burns. But at the time at least. And that's sometimes the writings or my scribbles are completely all my words. Sometimes it's a response to something I've seen or heard in the real world. One day I'll compile it. One day. Yeah. It's a work in progress.
I'm similar to that. Well, I don't write poetry. I've actually never thought I've been good at poetry, to be honest. Like, every time I did like a poetry class, I would be super nervous because I'm like, I can't write poetry. I don't know how to convey meaning in this very small space.
I disagree with you.
I don't think I have it in me. Like, I could write stories because I've always been good at writing stories, very good at writing fiction and nonfiction. Like, I could write you a whole thing, but to put everything that I want to say in like this small space, I don't, because it was always very structured. Because you know what they tell you to like write 4 stanzas, poetry, or sometimes you do like a rondeau. What's it called? They'll tell you to do like different things, but it was always very structured, and I never wanted to like stay in the structure. I always wanted to do my own thing. So I just didn't think I was good at poetry.
I failed English the first time I did it. Got a D.
You did? Oh, God.
Yeah, I got a D. I was overconfident because I always like to read and write.
I got an A.
The first time I did it, I did not study. I got a D. Then I redid it and got a B.
Yeah.
But with that being said, everything I've ever written, any sort of poetry I've posted or anything, I don't think it follows any real conventional means, with the exception of like, okay, yeah, haikus. There are certain criteria that it must follow for it to be considered a haiku.
Yeah.
So at that point now, okay, well, I did that. But even with that being said, whatever I put the pen, a piece of pen to a piece of paper, and whatever comes out just comes out.
Exactly.
And we'll call that poetry.
Call it poetry. Tis what tis. But then you transitioned into like photography.
Yes.
That was when you were in college, right? That was your major? Something. So.
Yeah. So while I studied creative media, a lot of the classes involved a lot of photography and videography. The irony behind it is I'm actually technically a third generation photographer.
Really?
My grandfather and grandfather were both photographers as well. They had a studio called Chance Photography. So I grew up seeing cameras a lot and whatnot. And I won't lie, I won't say it was always my plan or anything like that. It was a matter of I first picked up a camera while I was in SPCS studying creative media. I think it was for our photojournalism course. And I'm not gonna lie, because we had access to this equipment, videography cameras, photography cameras, and whatnot, you just fill out a form and they give it to you. I never afforded a camera prior to that. So as I got it in my hand, I kind of just ran wild with it. Almost any chance I got, I'll just take the camera out and go take pictures. And I almost instantly fell in love with it. A lot of my friends would always ask me, like, which I prefer, photography or writing, and that's a hard one.
Yeah.
Because writing is my way of showing the world what's going on in my head, essentially. Photography, I could literally snap a moment and show someone what I was seeing in that moment.
Yeah.
Whether it be pure bliss or joy, whether it be something a little bit more deeper and dark or anything of the sorts, I could just pick up my camera and run with it. So at that point now, photography holds a completely different meaning to me, but at the same time, it holds the same amount of love and respect. So I can't really say I'd pick one or the other. Ironically enough, if I had to choose between the two, like what I'll do for the rest of my life, obviously it'd have to be photography because, easier to make money there. They'll still have to pay.
Yeah.
I started in SBCS really actually taking photography serious. Prior to that, I wouldn't lie. I used to take photos with my phone back when I actually had a camera phone and whatnot. But it only really got serious and I realized how much I actually liked it when I actually had access to a camera and I could actually practice it. So after SBCS, it just kind of snowballed. A year later, I bought my first camera. I ended up working at a photo studio. For the most part, I'll just take people's passport photos because that's one of the services they provided. However, other than that, sometimes kids would come in to do a birthday shoot and taking photos of kids and really capturing their smile and their happiness and then seeing their parents so excited is one of the greatest feelings you will. It's hard to shoot kids.
I can imagine. I was about to say.
Yeah, but I mean, it is what it is. But at the same time, it's you at the time at the studio, Baby Shark with this thing. So it's me singing Baby Shark, dancing like a fool to get the kid to look over here and laugh. And yeah, it was fun. And from working at the studio, I ended up doing photography for other clients. The person I bought my camera from actually introduced me to someone who does wedding photography. So sometimes I'm his assistant and I'll just carry the equipment. Sometimes I'll actually take photos as well. And especially like at weddings when you're going in for that like first kiss or the first dance. And when you capture that right image, it just feels perfect.
Yeah.
Because you're really helping someone capture an important moment, an important memory for the rest of their life.
Yeah.
Because especially in wedding photography, a lot of the things we tend to tell the bride and the groom when people are starting to rush them is, hey, at the end of the day, when people drink out your alcohol and they eat their food, you only had the pictures left for. That's it.
That's very true.
Your pictures and your partner.
Yeah.
And you better hope you get to keep your partner.
Very true.
In this day and age,
that is the truth. Because what was he saying? 50% of marriages end in divorce.
I've heard that a lot. I don't know the actual statistics.
It's so here, but like that's. I mean, you on that side though. You on that 50% of married.
Well,
God's
yeah. And for me in that aspect, communication is key.
Factual.
Yeah, and as you could hear from the whole thing, like I always am trying to find the best way to communicate, whether it be through a picture, whether it be through writing. I think when it comes to like that aspect, I don't have to worry because I'm not someone who likes to just bottle up. Not saying that I can't. Nobody perfect, and I'm far from. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I mean, yeah, I'll try to talk it out if I can, and it comes back and even into my work, my life, my hobbies. Even if you're playing a game. Let's say you're playing some Call of Duty and somebody's shooting you from your left, your partner right there. I say, hey, look him in the left. If you say him, look him right there, they go and just spin all over the screen.
Yeah.
Communication is key no matter what you're doing.
Fully. But then my question is, right, so you've always been able to communicate effectively through your words by writing it down and not verbally. See, I struggle with that now. I'm not always able to say what I'm feeling verbally. I could probably write it down. So how does that work in like your relationship? Because you've been married for a few years now. Like how do you go from writing to then being able to express yourself through your words to your partner effectively?
That is both a matter of practice and growth, as well as patience on the other person's side. Mm-hmm. And it also has to go with a matter of that person really being your safe space.
Yeah.
You have to have that comfort with them in the sense that you can talk to them, let them know anything, and it is a judgment-free zone. The one thing I always tell my wife is very simple. I don't get to dictate what I say and how you feel about it, necessarily speaking. So I could say something and mean it one way, but you could interpret it another way. That's neither of our fault.
True.
I can't be upset that that's how you felt about it.
Yeah.
And vice versa. And from understanding that, hey, the message sent isn't always the message received. Ironically enough, I learned that in business communication and I applied it to marriage. The message sent isn't always the message received. And once you keep that in mind, I was someone who struggled very hardly with speaking my mind at first. And at the beginning, what I would tend to do is, firstly, I'll go write it out. Get all the feelings out onto a piece of paper, out onto a laptop screen, onto my phone screen. And once everything is out and I can think clearly, I would then try to formulate what I'm going to say. I shit you not. Up to this day, if I have to send someone a message that I feel uncomfortable sending, I go into my notes, I draft it up, I read it over, then I send it.
Yeah.
So I give myself the time to actually process and decide what's the best way to actually say it. And even though I may not want to say it or may feel uncomfortable saying it, I kind of reaching the stage in my life where oh gosh, I had to say it. If I don't, nobody is going to.
That's true. That makes sense.
So, that's basically how I ended up here. Still not perfect, still make mistakes. Sometimes I don't verbalize it when I should. May verbalize it too late or too early, but we're human, we learn.
That's very true. How do you feel about like your partner having a male best friend or a female best friend? I feel like I got in this conversation the other day with somebody and I was just like, I don't think it's that deep. Because my perspective is, right, because I used to date this guy that had like 3/4 of his friend group were women. And that was fine with me because I understood the rapport. I saw it for myself. I saw it firsthand where he kind of had this a savior complex and this need for attention, and they gave him that. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm just saying I understand, right?
Yes,
I get it. So, he liked being the center of attention. He's a little bit narcissistic, as we can tell. So I was like, all right, cool. So he treat them like his fans or his like younger sisters or whatever. So it was that kind of situation. So it didn't really bother me. I was like, all right, cool, whatever. The problem I had was when after we were dating and we're together, like I think it was like 7-8 months down the line now, a new girl pops into the picture and he's like, oh, this is my best friend. And I'm like, big man, you don't know this woman. She now pop up. Like she's now your friend, like for like 2-3 weeks now. What do you mean she's your best friend? That didn't make sense to me. And they were moving kind of close, doing things together, just on their own. And it was making me uncomfortable. And I was just like, yeah, this is not okay. Like this best friend isn't a best friend. You obviously have clear intentions for this person. That you're trying to hide behind as if this is my best friend, because you know that I know that you have other female best friends. So that annoyed me, because after we broke up, they got together like right after. So obviously there was something there.
Yes.
So
basically, you hit the nail on the head there.
Exactly. So I knew something was fishy from jump. But the thing is, I don't mind my partner having a female best friend. That's perfectly fine. I think that platonic relationships between men and women are perfectly normal, like we have it. So I don't have an issue with that. But I think it's when it's cultivated in a way where it's so devious. That is where I have the problem, because I know there's like this culture of like men that do befriend women purely because they want to be with them. Right? And I can understand why men that are with these women in relationships would be hesitant and to be like, no, his intentions are not good, whatever. But it's not everybody. So I don't know. How do you feel about it? Because you are a married man, right?
Yeah.
Do you have like female best friends? Does your wife has male best friends? Like how do you like navigate that whole situation?
So to start, before I even go to explain or anything, I just like to put up, my wife does have a male best friend. Knows way longer than me. And in addition to that, I have 3 persons who I am extremely close with. There's my best friend from SBCSA, Sharice. So he can already say anything there. And my best friend from primary school, Judah, and then there's you. Those are probably you all are probably the 3 to get the quickest responses from me, by the way.
Yeah.
I know you say I don't respond fast, but hey, that's the fastest as go.
2-3 days later.
Hey, that's real fast.
I understand.
So, firstly and foremost, in this day and age, really telling your partner they can't have a friend of the opposite sex is like, dude, check, you're being too insecure.
Facts. Like, why are you telling people what to do? I know.
Yeah, it's either you trust them or you don't. So if you don't trust them, why are you in a relationship?
Fair.
Trust is a very important part. So there's a certain level of trust. At the same time, though, the whole aspect of the person you are with should be like your bestest friend. That should really be the person you run to first. That should be the one that knows everything. It shouldn't be a matter of, I get some news and then the first person I run to is like my friend Sheree, so you're Judah. No. As my partner in life, you are my priority, as well as the person I want to speak to first and foremost about anything.
100%.
And at that point now, once that is established, and that person realizes, okay, yeah, these are the best friends, he's the person that they need to vent to when. So like, in all honesty, if I piss her off, I want her to have a friend that she can talk to. Having to deal with me and then have nobody to talk to about it, that sucks.
Facts.
So at that point now, no, you need to have someone to talk to about it. And then I'll be honest, if it's a guy, and it's a guy without intentions, and I put that out there because I'll be back to that in a second. But if it's a guy without intentions, he may end up saving the relationship because he may be able to give an actual guy's perspective on things.
Right.
Now, I will not lie. I know plenty of guys that play the long game. They're friends, this, that, the other, and then as that man gone, they're trying to make a move.
Nah,
so
that's just nasty. That's so devious and disgusting. I hate that type of. You could never deceive me. Oh.
I don't disagree with you.
I hate
the guy's gonna
deceitfulness.
block me from the group chats. I'm gonna get kicked out. They're gonna revoke my man card. But it is the reason why men get so territorial when it comes to other men.
Right.
Because in all honesty, men do that. They will literally. I know some guys that will literally be your friend for years. They'll be in and out of relationships too, but they're your friend for years, waiting for that right moment to make a move.
That's
so I
mad.
understand why guys move like that sometimes, but
that patience is unmatched.
They had the patience to wait to join like a Fortnite lobby when the server is down to us. So
That's it.
men patient when they want to be.
True.
But at the same time, though, as much as I understand why guys can be territorial, and yes, I have done that in the past too. Not necessarily say, oh, you can't talk to him or whatnot, but get defensive when I hear certain guy's name mentioned or anything of the sort. Yeah, I've done that. Everybody has a growing to do. At the same time, though, it is a matter of, do you trust the person you're with or not? You don't trust them, then you have a problem. If you do trust them, yeah, it may be a little uncomfortable. I'm not expecting you to be perfectly fine with it, but at the same time, you really shouldn't have any problems with them interacting with that person because that level of trust is there. And outside of that, once you have that trust and whatnot, it really is just a matter of having certain boundaries put in place. So yes, you can have a male best friend. And we're here not about a shower and say, come now, man. I don't care if you know each other since 5. We'll be sure it here. It sounds like a ridiculous thing, and that's like extreme.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you know what you're going to be comfortable with. You know what you're not going to be comfortable with. Okay, yeah, you all could go to the mall online. Cool. You may not necessarily be comfortable with your man spending the night at a girl's house or a girl spending the night at your man's house. So just so. And fair enough, because at the end of the day, you're in a relationship. It takes 2 hands to clap. So at that point now, if you're like saying, yeah, you could talk to this person, I'm not going to breach in your privacy or whatnot, but I also would like to set certain boundaries to make sure that, hey, XYZ. It's not a matter of trust at that point. It's a matter of your peace of mind. So, hey, okay, yeah. Yes, you could have your friend, whatever. I'm not trying to get in the middle of that. You all know each other longer than me. But here, these certain things I do not like. I'd prefer if we can avoid it. And at this point now, it's really up to the person to say yes or no if they're willing to. But if they really do care about you, they will be willing to meet you halfway because you're already stepping out of your comfort zone with a person that you're not necessarily comfortable with and telling them, I'm trusting you.
Right.
This is what we can do. So it really is communication, but you can't really dart around and be like, oh no, well, my girl only allowed to have female friends, and so I was like, no dog, come on, man.
Exactly.
2024, you still doing this shit?
Exactly. Like, what age we living in?
Boy, get caught. There's girls lying with a man, grab the fucking pitchforks and torches, guys. No, come on.
I don't think
It's this day and age.
It's not that deep. Like, platonic friendships exist and they're so necessary. Sometimes it's so necessary to have a guy's perspective on certain things. Because when you and your man beefing, and just like, Lord God, I don't understand this man. This man not making sense to me, whatever. You can link your best friend and he gets like, oh, well, I can understand from his perspective. I get his view. Because remember, the male ego, this, that, third. Like, he can give you insight into like how his brain would be working. And that's good. Like, your girl's probably gonna side with you and say, oh, this is what she thinks, whatever.
Yeah.
She'll try to like understand from his perspective as well. I'm not saying that's not possible. However, from a guy's perspective, it's different and it's necessary. I think. Shoot me, call me, pick me, whatever. That's just what I think.
No, but that is true, and that's why I said earlier, like, if it is a guy without intentions. You as the person in the relationship, so like my wife, she has a male best friend. God willing, he has zero intentions. I get through at that point too, because at that point, it is a matter of if we were to ever have an argument and she run to him, he's going to be like, well, I understand now, because if you was to say that, I'd have misunderstood it too, or this is how I would interpret it as well.
Yeah.
And they're breaking it down from a guy's perspective. And when you realize, okay, this is not just a matter of the person you're dealing with being difficult, this is just how men think. Because I've realized men and women think fundamentally differently overall.
Yeah.
How I would approach a situation may not necessarily be how my wife or my friends who are female would approach a situation. I can't tell you the amount of times I'm doing something and Juliana will walk in and be like, why didn't you just do X, Y, Z? And my response really is, I didn't even think of that.
Exactly.
I did not even think that thought did not occur to me. It did not cross my mind. As far as I was concerned, this was what I had to do.
Right.
And the worst part about it is, I can't speak for all men, but for me and for most of my friends, hey, we figure out a solution. It could be the most complicated fucking thing. It's a solution though.
Right.
So we're not going to waste time looking for another solution. We're just going to start implementing this one.
All due respect, guys, you, man, complicate things. Like, things would be so simple and you overcomplicate it so much. It's so frustrating sometimes.
I don't disagree. All I say though, that was both ways.
True. Okay, fair. Fair. We have a tendency to overcomplicate things sometimes.
overcomplicate. I can't. I remember back in days when I'm dating, and then a girl come back to me and be like, "You know, I used to have a crush on you," and it's me going, "I didn't say nothing. Oh, I dropped hints. Like what?" And then, oh, one of the hints, this is the most ridiculous fucking hint I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
One of the hints is I made a comment, my favorite color was blue. The next day, she apparently came, I don't even remember this, but she apparently came in like a blue dress or something.
Oh, and you didn't notice the blue dress?
Well, I did notice the dress. I was
Did you
like,
say
hey,
nothing?
okay, nice dress. This or the other.
Okay.
And that doesn't equate to me, yeah, she's trying to get with it. No.
She should have followed up by saying, "Oh, you said your favorite color." She should have done a little bit more work there, you know. Nah, see, no. I don't agree with that one because
I got a blue article of clothing. And That was my signal to run through. So which I did not run through.
No, man. Yeah.
I'm a respectful guy. I'm not one of those. I'm be honest. I'm not one of those people in the world who think everybody's trying to sleep with me.
Yeah.
So at that point, no.
Yeah.
If I see blue and you wear blue, cool. You're just trying on some blue.
Right.
That's
No,
all
man,
it is.
yeah, if you like the man, you had to put in a little bit more work than that, baby girl. Because if she could have popped up in the blue dress and be like, "Oh, you said your favorite color was blue, so I thought I'd wear blue today," and then make it a little bit flirty, so that way you could be like, "Oh, okay, so this is for me, no problem. Let me slide in."
Could have done that.
Right.
I'll be honest, so I don't think I want to help.
Some of y'all just dense. I can't.
It wouldn't help. No, yeah, I'm dense. It would not have helped. At the same time, though, at least if I was to tell the story now, you could have said, "Oh no, Matthew, you dance."
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that wasn't the case. I got a blue article of clothing that I was able to now look back at and just laugh, because anytime somebody's telling me, "Oh well, no, women can be forward," I'll be like, my current wife got through because she was forward.
Yeah. Yeah,
she literally she commanded the pace. She told me, "Hey, X, Y, and Z is the case, you know."
Yeah,
and I was like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah, I have a tendency to do that when I'm really into the person. I will let you know this is what's happening.
Man,
otherwise, I fall back and like let you just do your thing. Usually, what I find though is whenever I fall back and I let the guy lead, it usually doesn't work out. It's better when I do it. That's when it tends to like get a little bit further. So
the honest answer to that is, and you're gonna notice this with the more serious and respectful guys, the guys who are looking for like a link, a quick thing, or hey, let's be friends. Those kind of guys, they're a lot more forward. The guys who are looking for something a lot more serious or a lot more long term or whatnot, they play it safe. They don't want to come across as a creep. They don't want to come across as
Thank God for that.
But unfortunately, because they don't want to come across as a creep or egotistical, it has a lot of nights of them lying down in bed and be like, "Does she like me or did she just say that?" Nah, man, she just say that.
No, I like you. Shit.
Nah.
Yeah, it's
I
hard.
remember once, I will not forget, it's 2018, this when like we first started dating at the beginning. She turned around and told me she liked me. I shit you not. I say that phrase a lot, boy. I kid you not. It was quite literally me lying down in bed. But she really liked me. She was playing games.
My God.
I'm not too sure, you know.
No, you second guessing after she fully tell you.
Yeah.
Big man, I like you. And you're just like, I don't.
We're not too sure sometimes, you know. It could be confusing us. It could be confusing. So at that point now, it's like, is she serious? Is she not? Am I being punked?
Not punked. Okay.
I'm being punked. Where's the cameras? So at that point now, it's like, yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess it comes with the territory, because when you're really serious about something, you're always questioning whether they actually like you as much as you like them. So I think it just comes with the territory. You're just like, you're not sure. Not 100% sure ever. So you just kind of just wait and see. Especially in the dating phase. It's all just waiting and seeing. And it's so stressful. It's not until you get to like the boyfriend, girlfriend, you have some level of comfort. You're like, yeah, man, this person likes me for real. And then that's where you start guessing whether or not they love you. I can't.
There's this clip I saw on, I think it was either Instagram or Facebook, and it was man going up to a woman. I don't even know what show it is. So I've seen some nice show, and they literally spoke about potential of marriage. Oh gosh, if I find the clip later, I'll send it to you. And it's literally just them going, what was it? Okay, so 1 kid, 2 kids. No, I like at least 3 kids. 3 kids. I'll see what I could do. Okay, so where would we go on holiday? And it's literally,
yes,
you know, the clip I'm talking about? Yeah, it's not. I watch it.
Marriage by negotiation or something like that.
Yes, and it sounds ridiculous.
It was.
But at the same time, it's efficient.
Efficient as fuck. I wish somebody would have that
Expectations were
for me.
communicated
Let's just
effectively.
You know, all right, married. Okay, this is where we're getting married. This is how many kids we're having. This is what we're gonna be. This is where we're gonna be living. Cool. Yeah.
And that is always something, like, even when, if you're going into a relationship and you're in it more or less for the long term, it's always good to, like, okay, I'm not saying that you need to want to marry me right now, but can you potentially see that happening in the future?
Right.
Because I'm in this for marriage. And if they say yes, no, and maybe not right now, but we could see where it goes, okay, at least you get some sort of feedback, this or the other.
Yeah.
But you don't want to be dating someone and they're thinking, okay, well, you know, could spend some money on you, and then around New Year's after that midnight kiss, you know, we could check each other back in a couple of years. Like,
Bro,
that communication.
that's like the worst. That's my worst fear, is like getting in a relationship with somebody and then them potentially wasting my time. That's like my worst fear. Like, I don't think I can manage that. I have one left. One. And I can't manage that stress. Because if you come into my life to waste my time, big man, move on. I don't have the time for it. 2, 3, 4 years down the line, you're going to be like, not really feeling it. I'd be a spinster forever. I'm never having children. I have nothing. I'm done after that. Fam.
Hold on. I'm wondering if I can find it.
What?
But no, there was a poem that I wrote, but I honestly don't think any relationships are a waste of time, no matter how they end.
Boy, I feel like everybody that's been in my life has wasted my time. Yeah. Actually, no, I've learned something for sure. This definitely been character development. It's definitely been, you know, an interesting journey.
Yeah, I mean, that chapter just ended at that point.
Yeah, but I guess it's not a waste of time, because if it's a waste of time, then that means a lot of other things are a waste of time, like going to school, this and whatever, because it all taught you something at some point that was necessary for that time. School feel like I was saying true. Yeah, but I don't know, man. I guess it was necessary.
No, yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, it does teach you something in the form of something, like
whether it was something to do or
like
not to
how
do.
to love,
right? Or how not to love,
how to communicate better.
Right.
It may teach you about things that aren't necessarily good aspects of yourself. I can't remember this poem I wrote offhand, but I remember it was basically me talking about, okay, well, quick flash, I've had 3 relationships in my life, 2 prior to my marriage, and it was literally a poem that I wrote, ironically enough, prior to actually meeting Juliana. But apparently I am a psychic, so I'm playing the lotto after this, and hopefully I'll win. But I predicted that it will end on 3. 3rd time's a charm. But it was like the first one taught me to, what is the name? Where can I find this poem? Fuck it, I don't know where it is right now. But basically, I remember the last line of it was, and what did the 3rd one teach you? And the answer was the difference between love and lust.
Love that.
Look, I found some of my poems. Jesus, I actually had quite a bit saved here. Scrolling down. It was one of the poems from Conversation in my head. So it goes, I've had 3 loves in my life. Really? What would they like? The first taught me how to forgive, and the second how to trust. And what about the third? I learned the difference between love and lust.
Oh, I love that.
And it really was, ironically, a matter of lessons I learned from my past relationships, and apparently a prediction from my current, because what I really learned in my current one is that you could deeply care for someone, but it isn't necessarily, you can love them, you can love the person, but doesn't necessarily mean you're in love with them.
Right.
And at that point now, it was like, hey, okay, geez, I'm looking at some of these poems, and I wrote a lot. But
My ambition is to grow up and be like you one day.
broke. Actually, the way don't say that, I am not
Don't
broke.
speak that over yourself.
Exactly. I'm going to win the lotto later.
Exactly.
I don't have nothing to worry about. Well, technically today's Tuesday, pulling on a Wednesday.
Yeah.
Big shout out to NLCB and Lotto Plus there, boy. Let me win. But, no, man. So, I'll be honest. Where I've reached in my life, I'm content. I'm happy. I get to go home. I go to the gym, try to get them gains.
Yeah.
Immediately go home after the gym and eat some ice cream to counteract said gains.
I cannot with you.
Yeah, I mean, in balance, everything in balance.
Yeah,
Everything in
man,
balance.
everything, yeah.
If I lift a 45-pound weight, I could have lifted 1 pint of ice cream right after.
Oh, God. We can't bother. But anyway, I just hope to be rich in love like you one day because, I mean, that is truly like the goal in life, you know? Just to be surrounded by love, people that you love, people that you care about, you know, to be successful. And not just like financially, but like in love, like in your relationships, like, you know, with yourself, to be happy with yourself and who you are and all them things.
I would say it really is a matter of choice. Because
For sure.
Yeah, looking at myself now compared to looking at myself like 5-6 years ago, personality-wise, I haven't really changed that much. My circumstances have changed quite a bit, but most of it is because I chose to get up and like change my circumstance at that point.
Yeah.
And then the whole aspect of like marriage or loving someone, I kind of had to just make that choice and decide, this is what I want to do. Haven't regretted it for a second. And when you care about someone, because you could, honest answer is you could care about your friends, you could care about family and everything, but it really is a matter of, for being marriage, and choosing a person and that person choosing you as well.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and according to statistics, I don't know the actual numbers, but people change their mind later on. They think it's multiple choice.
Yeah, they do. But I mean, it's okay because I mean, as long as you're choosing your partner every day, you guys will be fine. Like every day that passes by, you're constantly choosing each other. No matter how much you changed, how much you know, move up in life and things happen, as long as you're choosing each other every day, you'll be all right.
Yeah, that's true. And I mean, I haven't written a lot of negative poetry in a while, so things have to be doing something had to be going good.
Yeah, subconsciously, right? Making that connection.
Definitely.
Remember, communication is key for everything. Like literally everything for your familiar relationships, your romantic relationships, your friendships, work relationships, everything. Communicate effectively. Right?
Yep.
Ensure that they understand.
So you don't like it.
Bruh. Yeah. So, as always, guys. Yeah. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for joining me.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. All right, guys. As always, big up yourself every time.